Quick video to give everyone some much needed updates. First up, there is a small vid I plan to release the same day the trailer for season 2 of this anime drops. It is the most wholesome degeneracy I have ever seen or read, and it's been too long since I've made a video recommending an anime and manga. But I have not been working much on scripts and videos, because a thing happened last month. I was bullied by my Discord. I had some folks egging me on to check out Unreal Engine, since I had mentioned in a previous video that I had considered learning it, but I had enough on my plate. Some things happened, and so I decided, alright, I'll go download it, take a look, get confused and frustrated that I have no idea what I'm doing, then go back to my normal activities. But that's not what happened. I've used a multitude of different software since I was 15 years old. From the early days of Windows Movie Maker, to Sony Vegas Pro, Premiere Pro, Photoshop, Illustrator, Audition, After Effects, GIMP, Photopea. I even had a class in CAD back in high school. And who knows what else. Ultimately, the software was nothing more than a frustrating means to an end. Making these videos, or making some form of art. This has not been the case with Unreal Engine. For whatever reason, for whatever connections my neurons are able to make, I get it. I get the platform. I watch tutorials and everything makes sense for me. I get how materials are made, I get the blueprints, and I'm actually somewhat capable with this thing. When someone is speedrunning a tutorial, I'm able to figure out what went wrong. And I've even gotten to the point where I move ahead of the tutorial on my own because I know what I'm supposed to do next. Well, most of the time, as I have come to learn, there is a multitude of ways to pull off the same function. What's more, it's the first thing in a long time that I have been able to just sit and do for a whole 16-hour day and still want to do more. I'm not getting bored. The more I learn, the more I want to learn. There's been very few things in my life that kept my attention so much. And even fewer I have shown some innate level of talent in. So, with this unexpected twist in my path, I've got something new to do. Design a video game. As of the time of this video, I am less than 3 weeks into learning the program, and it's going along fantastic. I've got a game already mapped out, at least the basics of it, which I'll do a video going more in depth when I can have some gameplay attached to it. Yesterday, I ventured out trying to make my own animations, and in 30 minutes, I was able to rig up this nice little punch. It's rough around the edges to be sure, but I did not do any polishing for it. This was my first take. This morning, from writing the script, I tried my hand at editing and modifying existing animations. The first animation you see is the original, where he throws a spinning back kick, and the momentum shifted him forward before he took a stance. I modified it so he kept his hands up to guard instead of leaving them out, pulled the kick back after, and went down to a stance. That was in about 20 minutes. In another 20 minutes, it took longer than it should have because I had some hiccups caused by inexperience, I did another modification, where the kick would have more snap to it. Gets held in chamber for a quick second, then he comes down a bit quicker into a stance. Again, it could use some tidying up, and I was doing this with 30 frames per second instead of 60. There's already a few ways I thought of to hide the jankiness. Close is a big one. Adding a small blur is another. Having a target that you connect with also helps. I'm able to do this and figure these things out as a beginner, just messing around with no polish. Obviously, I'm going to get better at this. Much better. I'm still learning different aspects, taking notes, and practicing making other games with tutorials. These animations were practically a goof. The reason I'm doing these hand-to-hand animations is the game I'll be working on will be an action RPG game, with elements of a beat-em-up and small influence of the Souls-like genre, but more so in respawn and experience mechanics, not gameplay. Like I said, I'll want some actual gameplay to showcase to folks before I really go into detail of the game. If you head over to the Discord, however, I have a channel dedicated to me talking about what I'm doing and how it's going. I can at least say it's a hand-to-hand combat system, with martial arts being the focus more so than mere street brawlers. As some may remember from one of my other videos, martial arts was a massive passion of mine, and as such, I'm going to put that knowledge and experience into this game. I promise you that you will feel the love. So why am I focusing on this? What are videos in the channel? Well, I'll give you the bitter part before I give you the hopeful sweet part. I do still plan on making videos, just not as frequent. That's awful for YouTube's algorithm, but I'm not gonna go back to vomiting up slop for the sake of algorithm boosts. And that's really the crux of it. The YouTube I grew up with doesn't exist, and I'm essentially an ancient fossil in this new landscape. What the YouTube meta is right now, and has been for many years, is low quality clickbait slop, churned out as quickly as possible by people who care solely for making money, but will still tell you that no, it's because they have a passion for whatever it is, as they make the 12th video of the day reading someone's tweet and extending that tweet into an 8-minute video, telling you why you should be mad and give them money because of it. Quality does not matter. Low effort garbage is what gets the clicks, and frankly, I want no part of that. With my Anime Ninja project from a couple months ago, I was still under the delusion that if I made something really fun, interactive, and high quality, that people will love it and flock to it. I don't know what made me so naive. I've already been down this road many times. On the other hand, there is an industry where this desire for generic slop doesn't seem to have overtaken the medium, and that is with video games. No one is calling for better quality YouTube content, but everyone is always demanding better quality video games. There's been a constant uproar for years about the low effort, low quality crap that has been constantly churned out by companies like Ubisoft, like EA, disappointing failures like God of War Ragnarok, legacy killers like Dragon Age Veilguard, and studio destroyers like Concord. Imagine costing a company $500 million. Future titles like Elder Scrolls 6 are already dead on arrival, because Todd Howard and Bethesda have managed to kill off all the goodwill they banked on for decades with the Elder Scrolls and Fallout games of the previous generations. But other games, of various levels of polish, like Black Myth Wukong, Palworld, Elden Ring, Baldur's Gate, and many more, are showing just what can be done with video games and just how fun they can still be. Companies like Creative Assembly have felt the wrath of their fans after getting complacent and releasing garbage, and were forced to make sweeping changes to their future releases. Gamers have been the loudest they've ever been in terms of demanding good games, and rejecting slop. This is where I want to be. This is where I feel I can thrive. This is where I can make something of great quality, and I know that it will actually mean something, because other people will care. That makes me feel something I have not felt on YouTube in a long time, or anywhere else really. All of social media is just a cesspool of creators, and I feel like I'm committing a war crime just by using that term, pretending they care about something other than their bottom line. I'm not gonna do a funding campaign yet. I mean, I have nothing to offer you right now except hopes and dreams. But there is the obvious solution to this that works out for everyone. You don't have to give me free money. I have my whole business where I sell tea, coffee, and soaps. You can help fund this project buying yourself, or other people, the holidays are coming up after all, some of these products. Worst case scenario, if something goes wrong, you still get something out of it, and it does help fund the project. And of course there is also the traditional donations and subscriptions, all on the site, linked in the description. In terms of early funding, I laid out all the assets I am looking at buying to help me along, and the top priority items comes around to just $330, which is really not a lot all things considering. Add a new SSD drive for storage and it's still less than $500. Add in the second and third tier priority items and it's around $770 I believe it was. In the later stages I'll need to hire voice actors, and marketing will certainly be a thing, but one step at a time. I don't have to worry about that as I'm still mastering the basics. Just know any funding will be helping the game, as the more funding, the less work I will have to do to secure funding, go figure. In fact, that's a whole thing I won't go into the full details of, but I can get loans from Shopify. So if I see a massive boost in sales, I won't even have to ask everyone for help via direct funds. It'll certainly be a crazy endeavor. If I could find me a publisher, I will. But my spicy takes have got me a little bit tainted. If I see a massive increase in funding, I'm definitely gonna hire some help. I'm not gonna create the next 80-hour Elden Ring level adventure, or include so many cutscenes that it has a longer runtime than all of Game of Thrones like Baldur's Gate did, or anything of the sort. I'm just one person. As mentioned before, the best way to keep up to date with the project is in the Discord, in the game dev channel. There is one question I would like to ask folks, and you can reply in the comments or the Discord. I'm planning to have a fully developed story in the game. The character will be a named, talking character with a backstory, like Geralt or Kratos. How do you feel about in-depth stories in video games? I'm certainly not gonna do that annoying thing where you don't even touch the controller for 40 minutes, as cinematics play. But how much cinematics are you alright with? The game will be mission-based, something closer to Neo than Wukong. Is before and after missions the only time you like story cinematics? What about in-between gameplay? Do you feel that gets in the way of the flow too much? Give me your general thoughts, and I'm gonna get back to work on the game. I won't hype it up and claim it's going to be the game of the decade, but it will be a game you will be immensely satisfied with. My inner artist ego won't settle for anything less.